Welcome everyone, Costin here on Serious Gaming, continuing my campaign planning for Total War Rome 2. The Suebi, in control of the provincial capital of Suebia, loathed, at war with the Boii tribe in the Hercynia province, a barbaric people who have a bonus of diplomacy when dealing with other tribes, but who are heavily resented because of their barbaric nature and thus will face considerable resistance when conquering regions. I guess that's happiness hit in settlements that you conquer, so you're gonna have problems with that. Anyway, they did show the starting position of the Suebi in one video. So you start off with 2 armies, in total 14 units, that's including the generals obviously. What I'd personally do is ignore the Boii for the time being. They do have the entire province of Hercynia, yes, it's just 2 regions, but they have the provincial capital just south of your starting position. Taking them out early on would not be that easy, at least on your own. What I would do personally as the Suebi would be to take the fight to the Cotones tribe to the northeast. The Cotones start off at war with the Lugii, who control the Silesia province. So if you go to war against the Cotones, you might be able to strike an alliance with the Lugii. Once the Cotones are taken out, go to war against the Lugii to the northwest. The Lugii start off at war with the Cherusci to the west in Magna Germania, the Cherusci controlling the provincial capital. And then once you've dealt with the Lugii, take out the Cimbri, who controlled the Alabus settlement in modern day Denmark. The Cimbri, the Cimbrian War was the beginning of the end for the Roman Republic. The reason behind that is that the Cimbrian War saw devastation of a great deal of Roman armies on the field, like a complete massacre unseen since Cannae. Some people, quite a few people would say, Cannae was the most devastating defeat the Romans ever suffered. Not entirely true, not in terms of raw manpower lost. There were other battles that Rome lost where they lost even more men. The Cimbrian War has such battles where the Romans lost a great deal of men, and that contributed to the downfall of the Roman Republic, because during the Cimbrian War, a guy by the name of Gaius Marius, well known for the Marian reforms, which created the well-known legionary system with cohorts, with the standardized equipment and so on, he rose to prominence during that war, and he was the guy who defeated the Cimbri, along with Sulla Felix. Now, Sulla and Marius eventually ended up in a civil war, one against each other. There was no clear-cut victor, though I guess you could say Sulla won because Marius eventually died before they could come to a final confrontation. What essentially happened is Sulla marched on Rome, he evicted Marius out, then Sulla stayed for a bit, and after which he left to deal with, I think it was Pontus if I'm not mistaken. Then Marius returned to Rome, retook Rome, and then he died before Sulla could return. So I wouldn't say there's a clear-cut victor, but I guess you could say Sulla won. Either way, the reforms that Marius was responsible for, as well as the civil war that they started between themselves, that eventually led to the first triumvirate between Marcus Crassus, Julius Caesar, and Pompey. Marcus Crassus actually fought under Sulla's command, if I'm not mistaken. When Sulla marched on Rome, Marcus Crassus was actually in command of a part of his forces, and he actually won, if I'm not mistaken, he played a pivotal role in winning the battle for Rome. I think it was the second time Sulla marched on Rome. Anyway, once you have control over the Suebia province, you have a few options. You can march on the Boii to take them out, if you so desire. You can try and take out the Magna Germania province. Personally, I'd march on the Boii, take the Hercynia province, and then see what I do. Depends on who would declare war on you. You do have that diplomatic bonus, and you might want to engage in some diplomacy to keep your neighbors happy. Strike an alliance with the Lugii, get them to help you out against the Boii. You should have a assured victory. Once that's done, I would take for the Sarmatia province. The the easternmost province in the north. The Sarmatia province is split between three factions, the Aesti, the Budini, and finally the Nartes. None of these factions start off at war with anyone, nor are they allied between each other, at least initially. If you take out Suebi and Hercynia quickly enough, you might be able to march on Sarmatia before these factions ally anyone or go to war against anyone. Though, you know, if they go to war against anyone, that doesn't really matter unless they get conquered, which would complicate things for you if you want to take over the entire province. Anyway, with Sarmatia, Hercynia, and Suebi under your control, well, you can do whatever you want. You can take control over all of Germany by taking Magna Germania. You might also betray the Lugii and take the province of Silesia. You can try marching south against the Helvetii. You do have limited resources, and getting that iron in Raeti territory would be very useful. By the way, the map I'm using is a fan-made map which someone made on the TotalWarCenter.net forums. I finally found the map creator. I'm going to link that in the description of the video, the link to the thread where he keeps updating the map. It's still a work in progress, apparently. Anyway, that iron in the Raeti territory is looks very appeasing, especially for the Suebi, who will very likely need that resource. In Magna Germania, you have leather production. In the Pannonia province, you have grain, if you so desire to move there. In Dacia, you have grain, and only grain, which is really against history, because the Romans invaded Dacia to actually secure the iron and gold resources, the rich iron and gold resources present in Dacia. So it makes it... so it means historical accuracy doesn't, you know, it's just not there. You know, there's no iron, there's no gold in Dacia, even though it arguably should. But then again, it probably, you know, there's a balancing act developers have to make. You know, you can't just put resources everywhere. So yeah, you know, you have a lot of options. You can it depends on what your grand objective is. Which faction do you want to take out? Do you want to march south Rome? Then you're going to have to move through Raetia and Noricum, which means going to war against the Helvetii, Raetii, and Nori. Or do you want to march in Gaul? Take out the Averni, unite all the tribes in Gaul, then unite the tribes of Britain, and then march on Rome. You know, all roads lead to Rome. That's an old saying. All roads lead to Rome. So eventually you're going to end up in Rome regardless, because, you know, they have that good central position, and they're a very powerful faction in their own right, so you're probably going to end up at war against them at one point or another. But as I said, you have options. You might delay it. Hell, you could, you know, once you have control over the Sarmatia province, what you could do is, well, you could move further along the northern border of the map. Go in Ponto-Caspia province, in modern-day Russia, take the Crimea, modern-day Crimea. You know, you can eliminate the tribes in Scythia, and eventually end up in Parthia's backyard, if you so desire, if you think it's worth going that far. Personally, I just sent one stack of units, you know, to move along that border, conquering the tribes along the way, while my main effort would be the push to Rome, allying myself with as many tribes as I could. And once Rome is eliminated, well, then you rule the world, as it were. You have the eternal city. Anyway, Costin here on Serious Gaming, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more.